So you probably came to this video because you have a fear of flying. I myself am a person who has always been very anxious in a lot of social situations or situations where I felt like I had no escape. For me, I think the fear of flying came from my emetophobia, which is fear of vomiting, seeing other people get sick. So for me, it's more about I'm scared I'm gonna be sick on the plane and I'm gonna be trapped there, just, continuously getting sick or something. Or being near someone who's getting sick, smelling it, seeing it happen, all of the things. So I've actually conquered this 4 times now, and I really didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. To Florida and back, and to Puerto Rico and back. Florida was a little over a 2-hour flight, which for me was ideal for my first flight because it's short enough that you can kind of count down the time and it's gonna be over quickly. To Puerto Rico, it was a little over, it was almost 4 hours. So that was a little more nerve-wracking to me. But getting on the plane to and from Puerto Rico, I actually did better than my first flight. I mean, that's how anxiety works. We have to push on. We have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Because once we do, we realize, okay, I can do this. There's nothing to worry about. So I want to give you some tips that helped me through this, as well as kind of describe the process of getting to the airport, what it's like checking your bags, what it's like getting on the plane, how long certain things might take. And the reason I want to give you a breakdown of how things go is because a lot of us anxious people feel better if we know what to expect. So now that I know what to expect, I can help out fellow anxious people. So the reason it's so important to overcome our fears is because we want to be able to do these normal things, right? Without feeling the way we do, or at least getting through it. We have one life. If I can do this 4 times, you can do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't want to look back on your deathbed and regret all the things you didn't do. You will regret it. Yeah, it might be nicer to just give in to your fear and stay home in your comfort zone. You don't want to live like that. Take it from somebody who has been there. I've never used chapters on YouTube before, but I'm gonna try to figure it out so you can see what each chapter is. You can go back to them if you need to, or if you want to watch the video back, you can easily find a part of the video that helped you. So 1, the anticipation leading up to the event, getting on the plane. I did not sleep the night before I was getting on the plane because I couldn't get the thought out of my head, like I'm gonna be on a plane. If I don't sleep, I'm gonna feel sick on the plane, I can't go. What I can say is, you're on this video, so you're probably looking up like how to overcome fear of flying or like how to cope with it. Find what you need to feel a little better, but don't dwell on it. Try to catch yourself thinking about it, just kind of like in meditation. The thoughts will come, but don't interact with them. Don't dwell on it, and try like a switch to think of something else. You can literally just be like, nope, I'm not thinking about this. I'm gonna think of something else. You're in control. Before I got on the plane, I wrote down a list of things I could use to keep my mind occupied and distract me. So I recommend writing out a list of things beforehand to occupy your mind and distract yourself from feeling those anxious thoughts so you don't have time to be in your head. If you want ideas, some of the things I wrote down were message Depop buyer, I sell things on Depop, update Mercari. So anything you need to get done. I didn't care if I was on vacation. If it was gonna distract me, if it was gonna get me out of my head, I didn't care. So anything you need to get done, anything fun you want to watch, you'll be able to watch YouTube or TikTok, whatever works for you, whatever is going to help you get out of your head, do that. Write it down and then pull out your list once you get on the plane. Things I kept in mind to make me feel better. So of course there was we only have one life. I don't want to waste it. I want to see these things. I know that if I don't go and I don't get on this plane, I'm gonna regret it, because you know why? This is number 2 of the things that I kept in mind. It's a fleeting experience. It's not gonna last forever. Time passes so quickly. Before I know it, I'll be enjoying my vacation. Before I know it, I'll be home, comfortable. Think about what you did a week ago and how fast that seemed to go by. Before you know it, your vacation's gonna be over. Everything is temporary. You're not gonna be on that plane forever. And maybe you can try to make it an enjoyable experience. I had a kid sat in front of me that was looking out the window, all curious, no fears, and I'm like, I could be like that, except my mind has been plagued with this way of thinking. On my way to Puerto Rico, I was terrified to look out the window. I did not want to look. I didn't want to see how high up we were. I thought I would freak out. But by the last half an hour on the way back home, I was staring out the window, music in my ear. I had relaxing meditation music playing. And there's nothing wrong with bringing things or doing things that are gonna make you feel a little better. So I brought headphones so I couldn't hear what was going on around me. If anybody was getting sick, or I didn't want to know. I just wanted to be in my own world. If, like me, you happen to be emetophobic and have a phobia of being sick, there are anti-nausea wristbands. They're pretty cheap. You can get them at CVS, Walgreens. Dramamine is a thing. You don't even need a wristband because there is a pressure point. What the wristband does is it puts pressure on a pressure point that's supposed to relieve nausea. I also brought a little mint essential oil to sniff in case I got nauseous. So the walkthrough. You get to the airport, you find your terminal, check in your bags, if you have any. You send off your checked bags, so the things other than your carry-on that you're not taking with you on the plane. Then you go over and get your things inspected. Some of you might like to know that they will make you take your shoes off. I hated this. You can leave your socks on, but they make you take your shoes off. You put your shoes, any loose items you have in your pockets, you put in this bin along with your bags. They run it through a conveyor belt with a little x-ray thing, and then you're good. You just look for the area where your plane boards. You can sit and wait, and then eventually they'll call everybody to start boarding by group. So there'll be like a group A through B, or C through D, whatever. And then you get on and you walk through this little hallway. You might enter through the front, see the pilot there, and then you walk until you find where your seat is located. And there you go. Sometimes it takes a little bit to board everybody, of course. You might be sitting there on the plane for maybe half an hour. It really depends, but they want to get everybody boarded and on their way to the destination as quickly as possible. They make a couple announcements before takeoff. You'll feel like a pushback, so you'll feel the plane getting moved back. It's a little bit of a weird feeling, but you're still on the ground, you're fine. Right before takeoff, of course they turn the engine on. It's pretty loud. Don't get freaked out that the plane is blowing up or anything. It will like slowly creep up, and it's a loud engine noise, and you will hear that the rest of the plane ride. Takeoff takes a little bit. You know, they have to reach a certain elevation, so I got anxious during takeoff because it's like, oh my god, it's happening. Shook my leg a little bit. You know, I tried not to appear like I was anxious. During takeoff is when you have to have your seatbelts on, and there should be a little light that will tell you when to put on or take off your seatbelt. Once they're fully at the elevation they need to be, you can take your seatbelt off. In case it makes you anxious at all to hear that you can't take your seatbelt off, I did see people get up and go to the bathroom during takeoff. I don't think the attendants are gonna say like no if it's an emergency or anything. And then after a little bit they come around and they give you free snacks and drinks. And it's nice. I don't know, I kind of like when you see the attendants up walking around, like it's just casual. Maybe you won't actually feel as anxious as you thought you would. I didn't. I was shocked. You kind of like can't think that way either, because then sometimes that sets you off like, oh wait, why am I not feeling anxious? What's wrong with me? I feel okay. Turbulence, if that's something you're worried about, it's just a little like shakiness. I don't really know how to describe it, but I didn't really think anything of it. it's not gonna last the whole flight. And then eventually they announced that they're beginning their descent. It was during the descent on my last flight on the way home where I actually decided I want to look out the window. And I opened up the window, I could see all the city lights, and it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I actually was able to just sit there and stare out the window. If you thought this video was helpful or would like to see my other videos, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. Thank you for watching. You can do it.